My mum and I run a little farm with rescue and pet animals, and often need help with repairs, etc. We found a handyman who is multi-talented and cheap, a lifesaver really, as we're chronically broke. So we're really worried about alienating him over the following matter. He offered to have a friend look at our lame horse, as she's a farrier in training and might offer ideas. It turned out she knew nothing about horses and came to learn rather than help, and having the memory of a pebble. She needs the horse's condition explained to her over and over while she can't help and won't involve people she knows who can. She has become invasive and patronizing, telling me what that horse needs when I told her 100 times this is either not a need, not a priority, or not possible, downright dangerous due to its condition, and the vet agrees with me. Every time, she makes this a debate. She has been inviting herself to muck the stables for free, which I told her politely was not necessary. She runs back and forth hand feeding the lame horse and carrying water to it, as if I'm not feeding this horse specifically while the others are taken care of. She also bought that mare to blankets which can't have cost less than 70 each. I told her this is not necessary, but she acted like I was just being irresponsible for not wrapping that horse in the blanket it already had during mild weather. Hell, I don't have a warm coat, because I'm spending 537 of my 3-digit income on my animals. I have to double my Ritalin intake and send my blood pressure sky high just to function when she's here. I need 12 days of rest after each time, which in turn triples my backlog of chores, so she's not even really helping. We made a coffee corner in the barn so everything they need is within reach rather than having to walk all the way back to the house all the time. But not only won't she make her own coffee, but impatiently waits for me to interrupt my chores to make her one. She also insists that I do fetch water from the house because our well water isn't good enough for her. It's safe. When I am otherwise occupied, she asks my mother with her bed knee to fetch that water for her. After they had a fight, our handyman told us she thinks our animals are not in good hands. I told him I appreciate her good intentions, but she's wrong and overstepping. He agreed, but they made up and he started bringing her again. Awkward. That day, we sat down to discuss the horse as they had offered to take it off my hands. I told them the horse is not for sale or adoption, and while I was talking, she was nosing through her medications on the table. She even picked up my mum's inhaler and said in baby speak, "Someone ain't breathing so well." Which is cop funny to you? Then he casually tells me that they already leased a pasture and at a companion pony and are ready to take my mare. Says she would remain mine, of course, and they're just doing me a favor. See, I do have some legal literacy, and I would 100 lose that horse. He then said, well, plus, she needs a horse for her training. Oh, I see now. And while I'm typing this around midnight, she's bombarding me with messages educating me about how this horse needs to be rehomed because of hierarchy stress. All this is a herd animal, and herds have hierarchy skirmishes. Whomever shall I rehome this horse to? I wonder. And I was told I was entitled for asking my dad for financial help after he stole 20 from me. Edit. After posting this, I decided to put my foot down and sent her a voice message politely but firmly telling her she is not getting the horse. She lacks the experience to care for this particular horse. I don't appreciate having my competence questioned. And if she wants the blankets back, I'll give them to the handyman next time he's here. Then, I blocked her, but she did read it. If this wasn't clear, then I guess the wheel is still spinning but the hamster's dead. Update, handyman came as usual. Without her after he apparently told her he's no longer moving in with her or anything else that requires him to endure her, and got a foot of work done. He did acknowledge that she tends to take it too far and needs to learn to take no for an answer and allow other people to have other thoughts on how to treat animals. She complained that our place isn't sterile and that I'm not nice to the animals because of how I talk to them in between baby speak and stuffing them with biscuits. I mean, that's just how I am. I lovingly call my favorite horse a crusty shitco. One of the dogs is a one-balled fuckboy. My late cat, whom I loved very much, was my most beautiful asshole. So sue me. He said he respects my decision to keep the horse but would always happily take her if I to change my mind. I tend to believe him. He has expressed his annoyance with her more than once, and I think his support for her trying to get the horse was mostly based on me possibly coming across as overwhelmed.